Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about how to deal with toxicity by looking at the psychology of why we are toxic. Now, the the base idea of this on why we're so toxic is a lot of times it comes down to a tribal belief, and this tribal belief goes all the way back in our DNA. If you believe in evolution, there's an evolutionary theory about this, which essentially means no one wants to be kicked out of a tribe. Because if you get kicked out of a tribe, you're essentially dead. So every time someone calls out your actions, you get defensive because you don't want to be kicked out of the tribe. Well, we're not in tribes anymore, but that is innate in our psychology. So whenever one person calls out another person, or whenever someone starts losing, they want to make sure that it goes on someone else. If you think about a little bit more recently than back in tribal times, let's look at the Crucible and the witch trials, right? We had the Salem witch trials, and whenever one person was called out as a witch, that person would call out another person as a witch. We ended up just having this giant cycle, and nothing got done. Well, I guess a lot of people got burned, but nothing productive got done. So, in that same sense, when you get into a game that's toxic, if someone's making a mistake and they die, they like to call out someone else. Because if you die, it's another thing that you want to do is you never want to blame yourself for it because you're mad right now. So you never want to think to yourself. You always want to look at everyone else because you die and now you have 30 seconds to think about something and you have 30 seconds to go, oh, well, was this me that did this? No, you have 30 seconds to watch your team and go, what is my team doing right now? So deaths lead us to look at the team. And the challenge is getting us to look inward. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about how to deal with toxicity. And I explain that people just don't want to be kicked out of the tribe. And imagine every game you get into is a tribe. When someone dies, they understand that the spotlight's on them. They just died, the spotlight's on them, and they don't want to be kicked out of the tribe. So they blame it on someone else by using the Crucible method, right? The witch trials. They're blaming it on someone else. Now the heat's on someone else. Well, that just made someone else have this same existential problem, right? Now they're worried, are they going to get kicked out of the tribe? Now they have to defend themselves, and they can send it back to the first person, which is usually what happens, just a two-person argument, or they can send it off to another person and just have the whole team get burned together. What you need to do is you need to find a way to persuade your team to calm down. And I love the words calm down because to me, when they're used in an argument, it always has the opposite effect. No one ever calms down from the words calm down. So what I want to share with you is a little trick. There's an entire psychology based off of persuading people and changing their what they do, like changing what they want to do, what they're doing, everything like that. But I don't want to try to teach everyone how to do this, and I don't want to teach everyone the entire. It would be courses and courses in time, just going up forever. And I want to keep this video short. So, how do you deal with toxicity quickly in a game that's 20 minutes long without using every single textbook out there that has to do with persuasion? And the other thing is there's so much BS out there too. There's a lot of like non-psychologists and non-sociologists who are just like regular people who write a book on persuasion and they don't really know what works. However, if you've ever been in like a high-end company that's taught customer service, you'll know that they have a special method for de-escalating people who are angry, customers who are angry. Particularly if you've ever worked like in a high-end IT or high-end like problem-solving company, you always get trained this one method of de-escalation, which is don't say calm down. If you're ever at a place and there's a customer that's mad, you say, oh, sir, calm down, calm down. It never works. But instead, if you were to walk up to him and you say, sir, I understand where you're coming from. I definitely hear you, and I will work to get this solved immediately. Dude, shut up after that. Everyone shuts up after that. That method right there works with everyone. And that method is based off of a single word, and you can use this word in every single game that you play after watching this video, and you'll solve all toxicity very, very quickly. All right? And that word is a word called empathy. Now, To understand empathy, you have to understand the difference between empathy and sympathy. Now, empathy is experiencing the feelings of another. Sympathy is understanding the suffering of another. What that means is effectively, let's say someone's stuck in a ditch, and they're in that ditch, and you could say, "Oh, I see you're stuck in a ditch. That kind of sucks." That's sympathy. You're understanding the suffering of them, but you're not experiencing it. So if you wanted to, let's say, for example, you're waiting for someone to bring a ladder by, you could hop down in that ditch with them and go, "Hey, man, I feel you. I'm down here with you. Don't worry about it. We're in this together. Let's move on." That's empathy. Now, I'm not always saying that's the best thing to do, but I'm just saying that that's the difference between empathy and sympathy. One of them you're saying, "I'm sorry you're bad," and the other one you're saying, "Hey, I understand where you're coming from." You know? So people respond much better to empathy than they do sympathy. Now, I would show games where I do this and all that, but I want to keep this video really short. So, in the future, when you are dealing with a toxic situation, instead of playing the blame game, instead of throwing around hate, throwing around whatever, and instead of saying, "Calm down, let's just move on with the game," that's not going to help. Instead, what you need to say is, "I understand where you're coming from, and I definitely hear you, but right now this isn't helping anyone." All right? You're not throwing the blame to anyone else, and they feel like they're heard. Because when you're in a tribe, you need to make sure that the tribe isn't against you. So if you're calling out someone, just getting people yelling at you back, you're going to feel like you're still out of the tribe, and you're still going to be upset. But if someone in the tribe says, "Hey, I hear you, but let's not take it out on them right now, let's continue on," then you feel like the tribe isn't mad at you, and you can stay in the tribe for longer. This psychology of this tribal belief is what's going to keep people in games longer and people arguing less. And that's the biggest problem that we have right now, is that people keep arguing over and over and over because they're worried about their place in the tribe. So understand that toxicity is all based off of a tribal mentality that we have rooted deep in our evolutionary psychology. And there's a variety of theories that are done on this, on why we get so defensive if someone calls us out, if someone makes fun of us, why it hits us so hard. And I mean, even while I make these videos, I get a hate comment here and there, and it hits me hard, even though I have 27 comments that are like, "Hey, I like this video." And then there's one dude that's like, "This video sucks." And I'm like, it hits me hard because it feels like I'm slowly getting pushed out of the tribe, even though I know I'm not. But small things get to us very easily, and all it takes is a little bit of reassuring that you're still in the tribe, we're listening to you, we're understanding you, but you're not doing anything that's productive by creating more toxicity in this environment. So that's essentially where I wanted to get with that, was understanding the difference between empathy and sympathy, understanding, hey, this might also help you in customer service if any of you guys are managers at some place and you want to learn how to de-escalate in any situation. There's kind of an art to it. Again, you never say, "Sir, calm down," because that'll never work. You always start by getting on their side. You get in their shoes. And I also find that this really helps in arguments as well. If you're ever arguing with someone and you're trying to persuade them into getting to your side of the conversation, the best method that I always find is get on their side of the conversation, understand the pros and cons of it, because one of two things is going to happen. You're going to understand their side enough to where you switch over to their side and the argument's over, or you're going to understand the pitfalls of their side, and maybe in a way that you can explain it to them better than always looking at your side. And there's actually kind of a third result to that too. If you go on their side, you might understand enough of this to go, "Wow, this comes down to personal experience, and there's no way for me to convince him." So you could just end the argument there and move on with your life. So understanding empathy versus sympathy not only helps you fix the toxicity in a game very simply and very quickly, much faster than just saying, "Calm down, let's move on," but it'll end it, and it'll keep them in the tribe. Because every game you enter a 5-man tribe. And if any one of your members feels like they've been excluded from that tribe, they're going to play worse because they're going to be constantly stuck in a cognitive dissonance, worried about if they're actually helping the team and if they're not going to be out of this tribe afterwards. And it gets very difficult to do that. So you want to keep everyone feeling like they're in a tribe, and that is how we're going to answer toxicity in this game. If you would like to add any other tips about this or any other comments about this, throw it in the comments below. If you'd like to see more info, I can definitely add some links in the description of just the different studies that have done in evolutionary psychology when it comes to social situations. I might find a couple of the articles that I've saved in the past and toss them in there. But if not, yeah, I'd definitely like to hear your guys' opinions. Do you feel like Calm Down has ever worked on anyone? And do you find there's any other types of situations or ways to de-escalate toxic situations, whether that be in game or in life? I definitely like to hear it. But yeah, if you like this style of video and you want to see more like this, I can still do those here and there. I do apologize that I didn't do any gameplay in this video. The main reason why is because I wanted people to focus on what I was saying, and I didn't want to call out anyone in particular, because if I was to show toxic chat, I didn't want people to see a name in there and go, I know that guy, he is very toxic. So I just wanted to keep it very simple. Overall, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like this, feel free to subscribe. Thank you.